always interested in learning and seeing how people make themselves happier or sadder or what. So it's interesting to find, go see people. And what you got to do is make yourself disappear. I mean, that's the whole thing, is they can't see you. You just say, you can't see me. And you just go take pictures from it. But you stay out of the way, of the people that, so they won't trample you. It's a feeling I don't know, it's just a feeling that becomes very spiritual.
When you do it, you mean?
Yeah, when you're doing it, and it's something that you feel several layers under who you are. It's disappearing. That's the whole thing. Nobody can see you.
Syndey and I have come in and out of each other's lives over the last several years. I always admired her and saw her out when I was a young photographer in town, and she was always on the scene. So she was definitely, when I was a more active photographer, she was someone that was at every second line and at every funeral and at every jazz fest.
It's my favorite exhibit that I had worked on because of all the love that everybody came together to do this. And it's all volunteers for somebody, and I haven't seen that much respect and love for somebody else happen like this.
These are all bright and light and full of life and intimate portraits, and some are jazz fests and some are second lines, but they're all these just really beautiful moments. Even the funerals feel like these joyful moments, which is how in New Orleans we want a funeral to be. And yeah, I think it shows her life, and she was a pretty amazing person.
My name is Richard Noel Prell. I go by Noel Prell. I'm Syndey's husband. I've known Syndey forever, like everybody. She lived on Royal Street. Everybody went through Syndey's doors. She had the best pot, more than anything,
I think I first met Syndey through the Playboy Club, because the Playboy Club, when it was in the French Quarter, was designed and built by my dad, who's an architect, and Syndey was one of the first bunnies. It sounds funny to say we lived together. We didn't actually live together, but we lived 5 doors down. We lived on Royal Street, and for a while, I had an apartment here with a balcony, and she was like 3 doors over on street level. So, we'd see each other a lot.
Somebody said, you've got to meet this woman if you're publishing a magazine on Louisiana, that you'll just be wowed by her portfolio. And of course, I walked into her house and I meet this Frida Kahlo-esque character, so to speak. She had her hair up in braids, and she's wearing a colorful gypsy-looking blouse, and she's got a house that's just chock full of magical-looking tchotchkes and objects of art from around the world. And then I just became totally mesmerized in her portfolio, which was literally stacked floor to ceiling in big album binders.
Syndey and I met kind of randomly through a friend that I met when I first moved down here, and she knew that I was interested in archiving and photography, and she said to me one day, there's this woman who I ran into this weekend and she's looking for an assistant to help her archive her collection. And I made an appointment like that week to come visit her, and it was, I like walked through the door and that was it. It was like, all right, well, you're my assistant. Like, we have similar aesthetics and similar eyes, so I felt very much at home, and I think I told her several times that we eventually worked together for a while, but then we just became friends.
I'm Arthur Hardy, publisher of the Mardi Gras Guide, and a friend of Syndey since, I guess, the 80s. This is like seeing old friends looking at some of these pictures here. many of which have been published, some of which haven't.
She's a good person and just like always wanted to catch those special moments, and which she did, as you can see. Especially with my dad and mom, she used to just love to see them singing together, and she used to catch them one moments like my dad probably had his mouth wide open while he's screaming and stuff like that, and that's the thing I love about it. And she like action pictures. She don't just want you just standing there. A lot of times she wants you dancing and she wants you moving on stage, and she's gonna catch it no matter what.
We were friends. We were dear friends. I mean, she photographed my wedding. She photographed me with my kids, my 2 little girls. I think of her talent, you know, I think of the Greek myth Icarus, who flies up so close to the sun, refuses to accept the boundaries, and then crashes into the water. I mean, the wings of her talent soared, but she was so unrealistic about what you have to do to earn a living that she kept crashing. I remember one time I was sitting in her house and we were going through pictures. We were doing something. We were working on an article and we had to choose photographs. And I said, Syndey, she was talking about Haiti. And this is before it really got bad. She'd made a couple of trips to Haiti and she really wanted to go back. And I said, girl, you should apply for a Fulbright and go live there. And she looked at me and she said, what's a Fulbright?
It was just amazing knowing her. I remember one time we were going to the airport. I was taking her to the airport. She was going on a trip to Europe, and she was going to be gone 3 months. And I thought, God, man, that's got to be really expensive, Syndey. How much money do you have? And she said she had $50 in her pocket. And she was gone 5 months. We were laughing so hard I had to pull the van over. Well, that was Syndey, you know. As long as she was there today, she would worry about tomorrow. It's an amazing woman.
She's so full of life, great sense of humor, you know, big sense of humor, big personality, just fun. I mean, smart, but really fun. And then, you know, she became like Mike Smith, and she became one of the great photographers of our era. And she worked in color primarily, whereas Mike worked in black and white. And so her photographic record is, you know, as important as anyone.
Capturing the moment. She always seemed to know. Now, she would tell me she may have taken 300 shots to get that moment, but she always got the moment. Just beautiful work. One of the things she's always been known for is her lighting. You're never aware that there is any because of how carefully she would either craft it with no light or the way she would physically light things.
She always talks about the light, the perfect light. When we were going through Italy one time, we were on this mad highway, just nothing but roaring traffic outside Genoa, and coming out of the mountains, and there was this tree. It was like a magnolia tree of some type, huge, beautiful thing, just bursting in flower, and had been overcast. Suddenly, boom, the sun came out, and she was screaming at me, pull over, it's the perfect light. You know, we couldn't do it. I mean, we were doing 100 miles an hour and there's like 10 lanes of traffic. And she kept yelling at me, the light, you know, and she wouldn't talk to me for the rest of that night because I wouldn't do it. I couldn't do it, you know. But that was all the things I'll give it to her. She showed me how to look at things, you know, to see the light. And then to this day, when I see that perfect illumination, I think of Syndey, you know, because it was always about the light with her. She knew the light.
Well, you know, I mean, what grabs me about your work, what you taught me is that the color is part of the subject. It's not just, it doesn't just happen to be color. You use color in such a way that it is part of the picture. I mean, these just wouldn't look right in black and white. I mean, they may look good in black and white, but they wouldn't be what they are. They wouldn't be the unique pieces of art they are. But this color is such an important part of New Orleans, of the culture, and so many photographers like myself shot black and white for so many years. It was really wonderful for you to come along and do this and capture the color.
She knew how to take stuff to get that perfect color. And that's one of the things, like, it's not just the subject matter, but she knew how to take color. You can see it. Look at this. I mean, it just stands out like a blazing star. One time she went and took one of the churches by the projects, and the woman that was leading the whole thing, she was leaping up in the air and looked like a burlap sack. And all the pictures in this church had some kind of like a beam, streaky light through it. And they came out beautiful, even though it was something wrong in it, but it seemed to be the focus of her whole idea of what she was trying to take. And she thought that as like spirits in the church that showed up on her camera. She had no issues with that. She likes it when it's a good mistake.
She captured moments, or she was able to capture moments that other people would be almost probably hesitant to like jump into, you know what I mean? And like a lot of her photos capture a certain like a spiritual element, which I think is very much her style. And even the pictures that she chose, spirit was something that was important to her and was something that she sought out when she was photographing.
I always said she kind of rode a magic carpet around Louisiana. that she would always tend to land at just the right moment and just the right place to capture, for all of us, a scene that just truly embodies everything that's beautiful about Louisiana.
Yeah, she was there to cover the jazz funerals, the second line parades. I mean, she just got inside of all of the best of New Orleans and was welcome there. A lot of photographers, these fellows would run the hell out of her, but when they'd see Syndey, she was one of them, one of us, and just again capturing the moment. And I'm not even sure she was doing it commercially, doing it to sell. This was our city, it's her city, and she wanted people to be able to share it and preserve it. And it certainly was never about money, because she never had any.
No, she did not.
The thing that Syndey had that very few photojournalists did was a connection with the Indians. She reached out to them, they trusted her. And there's not a lot of trust in that community of photographers, because Indians have been burned quite a few times. But Syndey literally got under their skin and was always welcome there, and to see them in their own environment. She's just a masterful photographer. I mean, she just, more than a photographer. She saved a lot of our history.
Yeah.
But I think her having access to so much of what was going on was just an extension of who she is and who she was, because that was her people, that was her lifestyle. It wasn't like someone coming in from the outside with a camera, right? It was, she had a relationship and a familiarity in most cases with the people that she was getting close to. And then they trusted her. She was righteous with her pictures, and they knew she made good pictures. She's like a Jules Kahn in that sense, that she became a trusted member of the culture.
Especially documenting Mardi Gras. She just covered the scene top to bottom, from the Indians to the inner sanctum of the old line cruise, the parades, the gay Mardi Gras balls. Syndey was always on the scene. In fact, I never could quite understand how she could cover so much ground during carnival season. She even captured the trash. So she never missed any element of it. Of course, the Mardi Gras Indian practice, where she just has just that right touch with the camera shutter speed to capture the motion and the energy of one of these sessions. You see the tambourines blurred in this scene.
Now the guy that's right here, he never met Indian before, but he always helped Indians come out and sing and sew and stuff like that. And if I'm not, this is a ballroom. But at this time, it looks like it's kind of sacred. Like, Indians back then didn't have big old ballrooms to go to and stuff like that. They used to do stuff intimate in their house. And what it was called was an Indian practice. It was just to teach Indians what to do Mardi Gras, how to sing, how to dance. And this gang don't even exist no more because I'm reading the Tamarind right. It's the Yellow Jackets, and the guy who has the Yellow Jackets now, is Tone, and he don't really mask no more, but he's still alive.
Syndey understood the Indians as more than a part of Mardi Gras, but a part of New Orleans history and African American history, and got into the detail. I mean, look at this exquisite picture. She just understood that this was more than a celebration, more than a show, more than just fun and parades and all. This is who we are, and I mean, look at the detail, not just in the Indian work, but look at the hands. The tambourine. I mean, it's an extraordinary piece of art. I don't know how she did it, and it's so well lit. This was her at her best.
This is Mercedes Stevenson, and she, at this time, was one of the queens of the Wild Chapatulas. Today, 2015, she is the oldest known living female participant in our tradition. She's 89 years old and she'll be 90 in November, early November. She is a recipient of the Crystal Feather Award from the Mardi Gras Indian Hall of Fame. And she was recently in 2 exhibits, Queen's Rule at the McKenna and at the Arts Council. But of course, we're very happy to know that this picture exists because it is part of the record of our history. It is a wonderful archival photograph, and I'm sure she'll be delighted to learn that her picture is being exhibited along with others by Miss Byrd.
Syndey did a photograph morning of Mardi Gras in 1979 when the police were on strike. And we were filming the Wild Chapatulas. Big Chief Jolly was leading the gang into Mardi Gras. It was dawn. We were outside of the house, shotgun house, where Jolly lived on one side, Aaron Neville and his family, the nephew, lived on the other side. The first place we got to, I think it was called Dot's Bar. It was on Chapatulas. A little honky-tonk. We went in, and Jolly went over to the bar. It was about 8:30 in the morning, and he sat down to get himself a snort. And Syndey took this picture that is so wonderful. And you see the woman behind the bar with this beaming smile. She's serving the Mardi Gras Indian. And then you see a mirror, and of course all the whiskey bottles and beer and everything are in a nice, neat row. And then the chief turns around, and so the image is you're looking at the chief as he's turning around like that. You see the smiling woman in back, the mirror, and then all the whiskey. And the scowl on his face is priceless. It is just a grand image.
It's just kind of hard because like my dad just passing, and these like the 2 closest people I had to me at that time. My dad and my grandfather's like the 2 people I had. So seeing these pictures kind of bring back some old memories.
So wonderful.
Well, this is my grandfather, Harold Dejon of the Libya Brass Band. I don't know where to start at. He started a lot of these second line bands that started these days, like the Rebirth really started from him because they was under the junior Olympia Brass Band. And it's kind of hard just looking at this picture because I really haven't seen this picture in a while. And he did it up to the day he passed.
The Rebirth is just
it's just so crazy because like everybody picture like her uncle started the Rebirth. That's the first set of Rebirth. And then another one of my Indians, they great-grandfather is Professor Longhair.
Yeah.
Well, you got one of the photos with me playing when I was playing with the Rebirth Brass Band, like in 1986, 87. Well, here I go right here. Slim. Nice and slim at a young age. I was a teenager, about 17 on that photo. Remember, all the guys still living, so that's a good thing. Everybody playing in different. Kermit has his own thing. The 2 brothers still playing. Wolfie's still playing. John Gilbert, he's still playing. I don't know about these two cats. I be seeing them every now and then, but I don't think they're playing. Everybody's still living. That's a good thing.
She loved New Orleans. You know what I mean? Like, she loved everything about it. And I think that her love is evident in her photographs. All the musicians that she photographed, you know, like, it's apparent, at least to me, like, work that she did, it wasn't just taking pretty pictures. Like, to her, that I think she was doing research. She was, the way that she approached it wasn't, there was more to it, you know what I mean? Like, there was definitely a love and a passion behind it, if you will. But yeah, I think that her love for the city and its musicians and its culture and its color and noise and all of that, to me, is evident in her photographs.
You know, art lives on. I mean, art lives on long after we're all gone. So, and she was one of the great artists, one of the great photographic artists that of our era.